So welcome. You're going to meet Gail DeMarco
Frank.
here in a minute. Hi, Gail.
Hey, Frank, how are you?
Doing well.
How'd you talk me into this?
Well, you're doing really well. I mean, so my name's Frank. I'm with Vyral Marketing. Gail's a client of ours.
He's my secret weapon. I don't like my competition. In the old days, I would never share him, but it's about to get real.
She's selling a lot of houses. I mean, year to date, we're live and we're recording this in late June 2025. What's your production? What's your GCI year to date going to be if all goes to plan with these pendings?
Okay, right now, and honestly, because I have the most amazing assistant of 10 years, her name's Laura Daniel. She tracks everything. And I have like 9 pending. I've got almost $498,000 in GCI. That's what I will have. So I'm on track. I'm actually better than on track right now. So I honestly was feeling pretty down yesterday because I was having a deal fallout, like we all do, right? We all get like, And then I realized I have 9 pending and I have over $12 million coming, 12 million closing this month in July coming up. So it does relax you a little bit when you lose one. Anyway,
well, that's why we're doing the webinar, is because of you're selling houses, you're making it happen. All right. So we're going to go through 3 things today. You started over in a brand new market in Florida. How long ago did you start over from scratch, moving out from California to Florida?
It's been 14 months.
Okay. 14 months.
Correct. That I'm full-time here. Yeah.
And you came out there and had to start completely from scratch. And we're going to cover 3 things today. Here's the organization for the webinar.
Okay.
How to rebuild something from scratch. We talked about this. Is building your personal brand. What you did to lay down that foundation of all the trappings of authority to position yourself as an expert in a new market from scratch that the audience can use. And you got on the phones and you used your skills and you prospected it into a very niche market.
Right.
All right. Then third, the last thing we're going to cover today is you set up B2B referral relationships with other vendors and other businesses. And those are the 3 main things that drove your business forward.
Okay, well, first I'd like to tell you what didn't work because, I came here. Most of the people that know me, I ran a phenomenal team. And when I say phenomenal, I had 8 amazing studs in California. A team of 8, we did 389 million in 2023. So we were crushing it and kept our blinders on, never really had to worry about when the next deal was going to come in or close because we had built such a brand there. And Frank, I've known you for over 15 years. And, you were one of the first phone calls when I came here because I didn't have any branding, right? I didn't have any branding here. Nobody knew me from anywhere. I came here because my mom got colon cancer. And with that colon cancer, I became her caretaker. And she has all kinds of issues, like 2 IVs a week. She's been in the hospital 9 times for a total of 74 days in the last year. So it was kind of like a decision. I never thought I was going to have to be somebody's caretaker because my mom's kind of mean, to be honest. And it's like kind of dealing with a expired listing, right? So she yells at you and then later on, seriously, she will become your friend, but then it's the switch. One of my best mentors in this business was Nick Sadik, he's still my very best friend. He owns Sotheby's in Sacramento. And he said, Gail, just remember, sellers are always going to turn on you. And when they don't, it's a bonus. Well, same thing. So here I am. I'm taking, stock of what I have around me. And the first thing I thought, okay, I don't know the area. I don't know the neighborhoods. I don't know. Like I could tell you El Dorado Hills, Sacramento all day long. I could tell you where to go, what to do here. I didn't even know where to get my hair done. So I was kind of like an alien dropped in. I knew where my spaceship was. My spaceship basically is my arsenal of tools, right? I've been a real estate coach. So I've helped other agents grow. And I've been doing this for 13 years. And you and I just talked before the webinar, year 5. I basically, made $989,000 in commission. So I remember saying to our team, and I have a couple of people I recognize on this chat, like Steve Gonzalez, a couple of people that were on my team in California. And I said, hey guys, if you saw this job listing Okay. You saw this job listing and it said, salesperson wanted, right? You're a realtor. People, we are salespeople. We're salespeople, right? We're selling the dream here. And it said, I actually wrote it down, potential to make $1 million a year, right? 6 days a week, 8 hours a day, 3 hours a day prospecting. Now, don't get crazy and say, I don't make calls. I'm not talking about just phone calls. I'm talking about making 20 contacts a day. I don't care if you do it on your Facebook. I don't care if you do it DMing people, through Instagram. You have got to have 20 conversations a day. Okay. Then you have to work weekends, 11 to 4. Now, people here in Florida, I have some amazing agents that have been doing my open houses. They know we do 11 to 1 and 2 to 4, right? This is a contact sport. So I didn't really know how to get started. So I'm just going back to basics. This is exactly what I did when I say this job. Would you apply for this job? So basically, because I kept really, really strict notes. I worked 6 days a week, 8 hours a day. I did 3 hours a day prospecting, weekends 11 to 4. Year 1, I made $125,000. Okay. Year 2, $250,000. Year 3, $500,000. Now think about this. That's really not a lot, because if you're making $500,000 a year, you're only selling 20 million, right? That's $20 million a year. If you're making 250,000, you're selling 10 million. So, year 5, I made $989,000.
Wow.
Here's what you have to do. You just have to be coachable, right? You have to be consistent and you have to be all in. So it's funny because when I came here, I thought, okay, maybe I'll buy some Zillow leads, right? I'll buy some Zillow leads, but I won't go on it because I don't work buyers, because I'm a listing agent. Well, at the end of the day, I had this really great gal and I sent her out because I don't want to work buyers. I know listings is leverage. And right now, I've taken probably in the last 12 months, 36 listings, right? And my average price point here is not $989,000. It is $600,000. It's a lot different. Do I have a $2.6 million listing yet? Did I just sell a 1.3? Yes, but my average home is $500,000 to $600,000. So the first thing I had to do is I had to say, okay, who's buying this market? Everyone's like, oh, the market sucks. No, you suck. And that's the truth. You suck at doing proactive things. You suck at being consistent. You suck at not doing what you promised your family you would do. And when I say that, it's like, if you're supporting your family, and if, maybe like for me right now with my mom, right? It's 15 grand a month. That's what it costs to help my mom. My mom makes $2,500 from Social Security a month. So where does that extra money come from? It comes from me. And I don't mind, because it's just one house. It's just one house. If I'm selling 4 houses a month, who cares? Right? So I told her, you have 3 more years to live because I'm retiring. So she's like, I go, that's it. I'm out. You're done. So at the end of the day, it's like, I had to find who are the people that are transacting in this market. I had to go back into, I'm a real estate coach. What do I tell my clients to do? Right. And the thing is, all of a sudden I had to take my own advice. So it is open houses, and I had to find my people. I'm not going to do an open house over in Fernando Beach or in Palm Coast or in places where I don't want to build my business. So I had to just really write it down, Frank, and say, where do I want to work? Well, guess what? I didn't have much of a choice. I have to work within 10 minutes of my mom, because my mom, at any time, they could call me and say, there's been a toxic leak, right? You've got to get to the house, right? Something can happen where my mom's fired a caretaker. So I cannot go all over the place. But in El Dorado Hills, I made it a point, and anybody that knows me knows I stayed in El Dorado Hills. I'd rather have, I did a little bit of Folsom, but mostly one town. Everybody saw my signs because I'd rather go deep than go wide. So I knew that was going to be Rivertown. Why 2,700 people live here? Well, actually now 3,100. So the only people that are really transacting in this market with the low interest rates, that we don't have anymore, these high 7, we're in the 7s. Well, almost, I did 6.8. We're closing 6.8 right now, is people that have cash. People that have cash, or unhappy people, sick people, divorcing people. And that's all I have right now. People that are sick. I just went and took a listing yesterday with a gal that I just added as a co-listing agent. And this woman's in assisted living. I went from assisted living over to meet her daughter, and I took a $625,000 listing. Took that one yesterday. So people that are motivated, that's what I was looking for. So I thought, okay, luxury and old people, right? Because I'm sitting in the hospital, and who am I seeing? I'm just seeing a bunch of people that are dealing with life changes, right? And this is not a happy place. And honestly, we all have egos, Frank, right? So here I come from selling these great, beautiful homes. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm an over 55. That's who I am now. I'm the over 55 agent. I do a lot of the LBGT or Q, whatever that is. I do a lot because I've worked and I've really, how do you say it? I adopt buyers. So if I'm a listing agent and then the buyer, comes in, all of a sudden they're my client. Because not only do I give the listing, my seller a gift, I give the buyer a gift, right? And I give them, this thing has got me more business, my vendor book, this vendor book right here. So
let's speak to that really quick as you pull that up.
Yes. So this vendor book is fantastic. It has a big page of mine. So I have all the vendors in here, Frank, and contractors, housekeeping, flooring, painting, water softeners, plumbing. All these people know me. All these people refer me, right? Because they're getting in my book. I pay $4 a book for each one of these. The roofing guy has sent me 3 people. So, and I won't say all of them know me. The ones that I do the most business with, I probably have 11 people in here that, send me business.
I'd like to go a little deeper on that.
And yes.
Just how did you establish all those relationships in 14 months?
Okay. By me trying to build my whole new vendor book. I had a vendor book in California, but I had to find all new vendors. The most important person was my TC, right? That was the number one. Then the next most important person, well, everyone that knows me knows my husband's a general contractor, but I hate working with him. So I had to find a new general contractor. It's not fun working with your husband, but I had to find now somebody who just does appliance repair on Wolf stoves, right? So it's like just finding people that you need for repairs, roofers. Most of the time you got to give them at least 2 or 3. So I built this vendor book and I have over 200 I just printed. I dropped off the amenity center. They love it, like at the new construction places, because they're always asking the new sales reps. So
and you leave this with the buyer that was represented with another agent
right
at the house that you listed.
100% correct. So as soon as they come in, they get the book and they get a gift card. So I usually give them a gift card to the local coffee shop, and then I give them a gift card for $200 for handyman work. Well, that's my husband. My husband goes in, hangs their fan, hangs their TV, something like that, or they'll get like 2 hours worth, depending on the house size. Sometimes I'll give them a $500 gift card. So it doesn't really cost me anything. It's a little sweat equity. You don't have to give anything, right? And this is just through Express Docs. And I can send you the template. I have the template. So I'm going to be door knocking, because when you door knock, you got to give something of value, right? So we have fireworks, 4th of July. I am walking around inviting everybody. I'm sponsoring the fireworks show. There's probably, I don't know, it cost me a couple $1,000s. My husband's a fire master with one of our other neighbors, and I knock on every door. There's 81 homes in my particular little neighborhood out of 2,700. And I'm inviting them all to the fireworks show and giving them my vendor book. So when they're looking for something, they're going to see my face. So it's just more branding. You told me a long time ago that branding is everything. You're like, Gail, because honestly, like when I was in that dark place, I called you from my kid's house in Jersey. And it was probably 7:00 at night. You answer the phone and I'm like, life sucks for me right now, right? Because we all have to feel sorry for ourselves. We all have an ego. Anybody who says they don't is a liar. You're a liar. And anybody who doesn't have a pity party and feel down, even if you think you're doing good, you're also lying to yourself, right? So at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not rich. I'm not one of those people that, hey, I've got a team of 40 or whatever, but I will tell you, you know my story, Frank. 13 years ago, I was broke, went through a divorce, had to sell my 22 horses, couldn't even pay for my hay. And I had a huge
22.
You too?
I know it was 22 horses.
22 horses and 6 llamas. Yes. Gypsy banners. They were amazing. But at the end of the day, it's like life throws you lemons. You got to make lemonade, right? So I'll never forget. I said, I will put my head down. And honestly, what we're going to share today, Frank, like the reason I'm excited to share, because I've had so many people reach out, is, and people that know me know my story. They know me. They've seen my place. They've seen me work. This can help anybody, absolutely anybody. Because 13 years ago, I didn't have a pot to piss in, really, and I had a barn with no hay. So life was not good. And since then, if I tell you what I'm doing right now, and you do this for 10 years, because in year 10, I was able to save over $1 million, to buy a house with no mortgage for over $1 million, to put away for my retirement. And now I'm helping my mom, right? 15 grand a month. So I'm helping my mother. We can make this market whatever way you want. I'll just put it out there, people. Everybody has an excuse. You all have freaking excuses. I do too. Right now, as I speak to you, I have a lot of distractions. As a matter of fact, I have my sister here, and she has Alzheimer's running around my house. She's 65. She's a happy camper, though. So I'm going to fly her home tomorrow. And at the airport, I'll do prospecting. And I come back from California on Friday. So I make time for my family. So I have like triplets, I've got my mother. I got my sister. I got diaper bags, sippy cups. I got, I'm trying to be responsible family member. And I'm also trying to make enough money where I don't have to go into my retirement. And for a lot of you that don't have money in the bank account, if you're looking at your bank and going, oh my God, how the hell am I going to do this? Honestly, my heart goes out to you because I've been there. And like I said, I'm not rich. I don't have a big team. I don't want a big team. And it's funny, Frank, because I can't find people who really want to work as hard as me. I've actually offered people, hey, come work with me, start as an admin, and I'll teach you everything. In California, I would at least have 5 people a week. I mean, there's a guy on here right now, Steve Gonzalez. He drove 70 miles back and forth for 6 months and would buy me lunch. I wouldn't let him on my team. And finally, the 6th month, I said, okay, you're going to do it. He was coming from Elk Grove. And because I wanted to see that you are going to put in the time that I'm going to put into you. I can help anybody grow just like you can. And you told me in the beginning, Frank, Gail, if I'm going to work with you, you're going to do it. You're going to show up. You're going to do the videos. Because one of the things I wasn't doing, it wasn't working my database. I was not working my database because at the end of the day, it's like people are calling me all the time. And you're like, Gail, why are you losing on all that business in California? Why are you doing that? So now, I have an incredible referral business. So one of the reasons, and part of this almost $500,000 is $70,000 I have in referrals right now of deals that I'm closing in California. But at the end of the day, anybody can do this. Anybody, right? And if you can do the open houses, like if you're afraid to get on the phone, I actually have a link that you could do role play with me for free, for the next 2 months. And role play is not just for calling expireds, Frank. Role play is for having everyday conversations for listings, right? It's like, let's role play a listing, because when you go out on a listing appointment by yourself, it's scary, right? You don't know what you're doing. And people go, Gail, can I come with you? But I'll tell you what, every time somebody comes with me, unless they know how to be quiet, right, and really listen, it kind of throws me off my game a little bit. I could do it in my sleep. I don't even bring a listing presentation with me anymore. I just bring comps and I bring myself. But really, the big thing was here. I bought some Zillow leads. That was a waste of money, because then they became her clients. So I looked for a team to join. I couldn't find a team that did the production I wanted. Why would I ever surround myself with anybody that wasn't a big thinker, right? Yeah. And because I'm a broker, in California, I can see everybody's production. So I'm like, wait a minute, the top agent at Sotheby's is 20 million? I've done that already from hospice rooms, from hospital, waiting rooms. And I was like, nah, proximity is power. And for me, when I count the 5 people on my hand that is important to me, you're one of them. My CPA is one of them. I've got Mike Sherrard is definitely one of them. I've got some great, Rich Thomasini. I've got great people, in my circle that if I have a question, right, or I have a challenge, I can go and I could get refueled, because we all need to get refueled, right? Because especially when maybe you're going through a divorce, maybe, you're thinking about a divorce, you're like, how can I get out of it? It's like, or, you are your own worst enemy. For us to be happy, in order to have wealth, we have to have health. So, and I've learned that, like, it's being slammed in my face. So it's been, open houses. It's, of course, because if you could put me in front of somebody, Frank, and we can connect, that I'm only looking for one person to make eye contact with. As a matter of fact, open houses, let's face it, sometimes nobody comes, right? But it's what you do before the open house that counts, right? It's all the marketing you do before. So that's a whole nother webinar on how we do that. And I always do all my open houses, like we do 3 to 4 at the same time in the same neighborhood, so we can shuffle people around. And I have it worked out with the people that are doing my open houses. If you do an open house and you send somebody to me and they buy, we're going to split this 50-50. So don't try to hoard the buyers, right? Try to find the right house for the buyer. The other thing that has blown up my business, which I'm shocked, is my YouTube station. I'm telling you, people, listen to me. Listen. This little thing, or your phone. I have never done YouTube. I mean, I did a little bit and then we stopped, and have to be coachable, right? I got to be coachable, because in my little pity party, when I reach out to somebody, Mike Sherrard told me, Gail, we're going to work on YouTube. And I was like, because I'm old. I don't want people to see my wrinkles. I don't want them to see me close up, right? I was a photographer behind the camera for 25 years. Any photographer, they like to be in control, be behind the camera, not in front of it. I started practicing. I threw out more YouTube videos, and then I just said, screw it. I don't even want to review it. I just want to do it. And I don't want to care about my wrinkles. Like when you send me my videos, Frank, because, we do some really, really good YouTube marketing. My clients, actually, one of them texted me at 6:30 in the morning, 2 days ago. I'm like, who the heck is this? And it was actually my trainer at the amenities center, and he's like, your marketing is great. He goes, I just woke up to your ad. I'm like, I didn't even know I was doing an ad, right? I was like, ooh, I don't even want to look at it. But at the end of the day, I have almost 48,000 followers on my YouTube right now with less than 100 videos. And it's when I go on a listing appointment, I will tell you, and I say, I'm going to advertise your home on my YouTube channel. They love it. But I'll tell you, the buyers are working right now. I have 7 buyers. I just did one from Thailand 2 weeks ago. I've got Thailand, Texas, Georgia, Atlanta, South Florida, Virginia. We just got one from Jersey that I'm working with one of the agents on my team, and they're spending $1 million. And Frank, they're so different because I love these buyers. They're like your family. They're like, I've watched all your videos. I'm like, oh my God. I talk about, and just be yourself. I mean, people know I hate Governor Newsom. They know they know I'm a Trump lover. So if they're not my people, go away, right? Don't come. And I think that, they know I love to eat food. They know my mother's, and I have a relationship. I mean, this comes out on my videos. I'm me. And I'm shocked how many people really come back to my channel and watch it. So at the end of the day, I've closed just in YouTube buyers. It only took me 4 months for me to get my first buyer. Okay. I only started this like a year ago. The people that are around me know all this, here in Florida. And, I've closed $8.3 million just in YouTube. And that's pretty darn good for my first year. Right. And it's just crazy. If you saw the emails, they send you like a whole biography. They even send me net sheets from their sale. Like I have this one guy from DC, and he just came in 2 days. He bought a Del Webb home. I did that with one of my agents, Sydney, on this. I don't know if she's on this call or not. But I also just decided, because I'm doing this kind of business, I'm just splitting everything right now. I just made a decision yesterday. I'm working, with some really good agents right now. I would much rather work on coaching, helping other agents, because I don't want to sell forever. I love the sale. I love the hunt. I love the marketing. So YouTube has been incredible for me right now, I'm trying to put out 3 videos a week. This month has been a tough month, but it's one of those things where now I enjoy doing it. It's easy. You have your mic, you've got it's a DJ Osmo or a telephone, not a telephone. You could use your phone, your iPhone. Absolutely. And then I found an editor for $30, $30 for editing. And honestly, it's really not so much about keywords anymore. It's about what you're saying, because YouTube is pulling up everything you're saying. And I don't know how I'm showing up everywhere, but I just keep doing what I'm doing. If it's not broke, I don't fix it. But one of the things that you taught me about, you go, Gail, it can't be one thing. Okay. Because I had started and I absolutely love my real marketing. Right. So, and I'll put all these links. I mean, we'll send them to people after, but I'm a huge proponent, and maybe you don't have money to mail. So I want to break this down. Okay. I mail to 397 people in this one little neighborhood. And it's where my mom lives. Right. So, and it's 5 minutes from my house. And I've closed 27 transactions in the last 12 months. 27. So what does it cost me? This is the little mailer right here. Here's what people like. Okay. So people love data.
Hold that slow in front of the camera as you share it.
Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
So people love data. They don't care about you. They really don't. Oh, see, that's my lender and he pays for half of it. So when I tell you they really don't care about you. They just care about what's going on in my neighborhood. Am I are the prices going up or the prices going down? That's what they really, really care about. And so I've been consistent. So this has been a game changer for me. Okay. I've so far done over $300,000 just from my home value leads. Okay. This has been incredible for me. And when I say that, people are raising their hand going, and think about this. Do you scan just to want to know? And I would say maybe 1 in 4 people will scan just because they want to know. But there's so many people that scan my mailers. Sometimes I get between 10 and 20 of them a month. And you're like, hey, let's take it to the next level. So, because I will call, and some of them come with phone numbers, some of them don't. And so what you're doing is you're taking that information, you're finding their information, you're retargeting them. And every time they open up their Facebook or, Google, I'm popping up in front of them. So that's what, and honestly, like I said, I've known you for 15 years. You've worked with some of the top teams. And when I made that phone call to you, you said, you know what? My mom's now doing IVs. This is costing me a lot of money. I don't want to go into my retirement. I've worked my ass off and I don't want to work for another 10 years. You were just like, you have gold. Let's get your database. You have gold. And Marguerite Crispillo, she's one of my sponsors. She is my sponsor at EXP. She's always like, work your database. But let's face it, there's only so much time in the day to work your database, right? I've had the same assistant for 10 years, and she doesn't have time because we are crushing it right now. When I say that, for me to be here for less than 2 years to do, and I think if I'm going to close 500,000 right now, I'll end up closer to 700,000 this year. That's the goal, but it's hard for one person to do that. As agents, we feel like, oh my gosh, I have to keep it all. But the more you give away, the more room you leave for God to put it back in your plate. And honestly, I'm very faithful. When I say that, I'm a terrible Christian. It's like, I love God, and I know God has a plan for me, and I know God is going to bless me, and I know God is going to make sure I have enough. But if I keep holding things so close to me, and this is why we're doing this webinar, so we can share, right? Because, in the past, I've only shared to EXP agents, but I don't even have time right now because I'm running. Like when I leave this call, I'm going on another listing appointment, then I'm doing a walkthrough, and then I'm going for a price reduction conversation. So it's like 111. Do you think at 7:00 when I get home, like seriously, last night, I thought I was having a freaking heart attack just because it was like old times when the market was crazy during COVID, because I'm not a texter. I hate people who are constantly texting me like these long things. I had a terrible conversation last night. I got my butt spanked by a seller with the deal falling through. And I do take it personal. We all take it personal, right? But at the end of the day, it's like I need warriors around me. If I knew somebody was doing something different, I would want to know, how are they doing it? I would say, what can I do? When I first got my first job with the number one guy, and I was his first agent, Nick Sadek from Sotheby's, I basically sent him an email, and he's in Sacramento. And I just said, can somebody, I had made a cold call for a for sale by owner. It was 4 listings, over $4 million. And he said, I normally work with a guy named Nick Sadek, but he's too busy. He has 27 listings. So I'm going to go with this other girl, Jody. So I said, what if I can get this guy, Nick? I didn't even know who he was. I was the first year in real estate. What if I can get this guy, Nick, to hire me? Would you give me those 4 listings? And he probably thought it would never happen. He goes, yeah, I like you. Yeah, I'll do it. I called him not once, but I called him 7 times. No answer. Then I texted him, no answer. I sent him this one email. And I said, hi, I'm Gail DeMarco. I said, you don't know me, but I don't know where you are with your business right now. I don't know a whole lot about you. I'm looking for a mentor, and I will do whatever it takes. I will clean your car. I'll take your clothes to the to the dry cleaning. I'll take your dog to the groomer. If you don't have a dog, I'll buy you a dog. I ended up buying him a Yorkie. It's still his dog, Gucci, right? So I basically said, I will be your bitch, right? And that's what it takes to learn. I will do anything. I used to clean. I used to do everything I could. He didn't hand me these $1 million listings. I basically found my own and called his expireds. So what it is a lot of agents want to make the money. They're struggling. They're saying, how can I do it? But they're not willing to do the work. And that's so frustrating to me, right? I finally found, a couple agents that were like, yeah, we'll do it. I even said to one, hey, take my leads. I get all these leads and follow a boss. I don't even have time to call them. They don't call them. They don't. So people don't want it bad enough, Frank. That's the God's honest truth. Or they just don't believe in themselves. It's here. In your head, you're dead. So it's like, you got to get out of your head. And I think this market is great. We're going to look back and we're going to go, why didn't we take advantage of it? Why didn't we? Right now for listings, of course I'm taking overpriced listings. It was and people are like, I don't take overpriced listings. Well, good for you. Because guess what? These overpriced listings are eventually going to sell. And I will take, now I'm taking 9-month listings instead of 6 months if it's too high. But I was trying to think, why don't these sellers get it? Okay, it was kind of like when my kid was in elementary school and the teacher told me, we think he's special needs. We think he needs to have a special school. And I was like, my husband's like, well, we'll have to check into that. And I'm like, no. I almost punched him in the stomach in front of the principal. And I was like, no, there's no way. Then we took my kid to, another school. And guess what? They told me the same thing. No. And I was like, you guys are all idiots. Nobody knows my kid like me. Nobody knows my house like me. Well, guess what? We went to the 3rd school. I go, my kid needs help. And guess what? I got him the right help. And he has 4 kids and he's doing amazing. And it took 3 people to tell me. Sometimes it takes 3 people to tell you your price, or 3 offers falling through to make the sellers understand the market has shifted. Okay. Don't expect them to believe you just because you're a listing agent, a top listing agent, or any listing agent. That's what I realized. Do you realize how many people are broke? You think in an over 55 community that people are paying cash? No, these people have mortgages. So many people have lost their butts, in this age group. If you're in the age group over 55 and you don't have any money for your retirement, you better get busy. Because I got to tell you, you think Medicare is going to take care of you? It doesn't. I mean, I'm paying $1,200 a month just for IVs. I'm paying almost $15,000 a month with caretakers and this and that. So, I don't know what your why is. Maybe you just got to put your kids through college. Maybe you're behind in your mortgage. If you're behind in your mortgage, I want you to DM me. I would like to work with you one-on-one. I really would. I'm going to put that out there. If somebody is really, really struggling and you're on this call and you want to turn your life around, turn your business around, I don't care. It's not about, of course, I'd love you to join EXP if you're not with EXP, or I'd love to co-sponsor with you if, because then I could have my other people wrap their arms around you and you wouldn't get it just from me. and Frank and I were talking. We're like, you know what? Let's start doing, I do a mastermind with like amazing people. Pete Middleton, he's like my brother from another mother. Mitch Reebok. We have an incredible Cameron Smith. We have an incredible group of people on Thursdays at 12 noon. And I haven't been able to get on there consistently, but I'm making it, this is like my mission to not miss any. Starting August, I am all in because I get so much out of it. But if you guys are struggling, I actually just got off the phone this morning with an agent that called me. I can't be on the call, but here's where I'm at. I'm afraid my car is going to get repossessed. I'm afraid that I'm going to have to go find a job, but I'm overqualified and I don't even know what I would do besides real estate. And I used to do this and I used to do that. Well, I'm just telling you, it's really a simple plan. But what it takes, it really does take you saying, okay, I get it. My business sucks right now. I don't want to go down. I don't want to be a statistic. I was talking to Rich Tomasini this morning, and it's just amazing how many realtors, are not doing business. How many realtors have left all brokerages. And if you go work somewhere else, you can never, ever, ever achieve the kind of wealth that you can do in real estate. With your clothes on, at least. I mean, there's no possible way. My first luxury listing year, what I did was I found an amazing luxury agent and I partnered with him. I go, what if I make the phone calls? What if I do the marketing? He was an XP agent. So I created this really cool marketing piece. And he had just sold a $19 million listing. And we focused on that. And now we just signed. So I basically used all of his sales to say, these are my sales. And now we're redoing and we're adding it in. We just signed a $4 million listing. And not that I'm even excited about it, because here's the truth. One of the luxury listings I have right now, I've sold, think about it, $2.5 million listing. You can sell five $500,000 listings without the pain in the neck. I have to wash the windows once a week. I have to check on the gardener. I have to water the plants. I'm basically a property manager. And they've blown 2 deals because a lot of people with a lot of money have a lot of time to be really, really crazy. So I'm really rethinking who, and that's what I want you guys to think. Who are the people that are my people, right? Because my people aren't going to be the families with young children. That's why I work with this girl, Kat, and she's phenomenal. So if I send her out with a buyer, she lives right in my neighborhood. She's got young kids. She knows how to relate to them. Don't try to find people that aren't your people. And right now I'm like, you know what? I don't need the headaches. I don't need the ego. I don't need to say somebody, congratulations, Gail, you got a $4 million listing. Will I sell it? I don't know. You know what I mean? Who knows? And how much money do you spend on a listing? On a listing like that, $3,000 to $4,000, right? Every listing costs me $2,000, if you're going to do any kind of marketing. But one of the things, if you're going to be doing, an open house, which is the cheapest way to go in the beginning, right? Don't do 1, do 4, just like I did 3 videos a week. 3 videos every week. And don't get those cheap little $20 signs as open house on Arrow, because guess what? You want your name out there. And I get more business from my open house signs going, oh my God, we see you everywhere. We see you everywhere.
Your picture?
I could go grab one.
How far is it?
Like 2 minutes. I'll go get it. I'll be right back.
Go grab one. I think the audience will love to see it. I'm going to give you guys a little recap here so far. Gail attacked on a narrow front, very close to where she lived, and understood the market was an older market that really needed to sell, or out-of-state cash buyers. She didn't start off, but one of the things she did was meet vendors to build that vendor book, which also led to referrals from the vendors. Oh, we have it here. Great. Let's see it.
So they're big signs, So this way, when people see your sign, it's not one of those cheap. So this is part of my branding. Ow, that was my foot.
Thanks for getting that. You got anything else you can grab and show us? I'm just going through a recap. We rounded up our database. This is where Vyral came in, with videos and lead generation emails and retargeting and email marketing and postcard marketing to a past clients, sphere and lead nurtures. Real quick, Gail, just grab what you can. I'm just recapping. YouTube. Lots of videos focusing on out-of-state affluent buyers.
Correct.
And then can you share that? Can you put that neighborhood market mailer up? That's really cool. You only sent out 378? What a small farm.
Well, actually, I have another farm too. I actually added 3 more farms only because, my gosh, if I'm only spending my cost about $220 a month on that, and I made over $300,000, that's kind of a no-brainer, right?
Incredible. Yeah.
I did another neighborhood, which is the big neighborhood here. And that one was closer to, I did 2,700 people in the beginning. And that was a mistake because number one, it was expensive, right? So it's costing me about $4,000 a month. And even though I split it with maybe it was like, no, it's $2,800 a month. And I split it with a lender. But I was like, I only got 2 listings from that. As soon as I stopped it, Frank, I got 6 more listings. And then I had to wait 2 months to get it back on. So what I did was, instead of saying, give me everybody in the neighborhood, I know my price point. My price point, I want $650 and up, right? And so I just said, give me $650,000 and up. And so it went from 2,700 people to 800, right? So now it's more affordable. And now I'm really niche marketing because I know my price point, I know my demographics. And I'll tell you what, there is something to be said for being the neighborhood expert, right? Because here it's different. I wouldn't always say that in California because I'm like, you're fishing out of a small pond. So here, if you don't know everything, I mean, I will lock up, and people that are on this call that do my open houses, they know they have my permission, and I tell them, I encourage it. If somebody comes into your open house and they have not been to the amenity centers, lock up the open house and take them down there. Because that's why people move here, right? Or maybe they're going to a golf course. You're selling in a golf course community. If they haven't seen the golf course, and they haven't seen the membership hall or the social hall, whatever, get in your car and show it to them because they're buying the whole package. The more time you could spend on them, showing them things besides the house and getting them to know you one-on-one, the bigger chance you have in closing that deal. The most important thing with these neighborhood marketers, and I'll send you guys the link in a follow-up email, is good photography on the top. So, here, it's like, same thing, data. I always say math is the path. And here's my new message on the back, and I'll read it to you. And I just got actually my second phone call from this one. It's like 1 agent, 2 moves, big advantage, buy and sell with Gail DeMarco because doing both should come with benefits. And it kind of goes into it. I don't ever say what the commission is or anything like that. And I would rather lose a commission on a listing. Lose a listing than take anything less than 3%. I just would rather, because I know my marketing costs and I know the time, I know what my time is worth. When I prospect, I'm $450 an hour. So when you ask me out for coffee and you ask me out for lunch, that's $450 out of my bank account that I could be making if I was on the phone prospecting. Same thing with an open house. So if you're going to want to pay me less, I'm not going to want to market because I'm paying you. I'm paying Vyral Marketing. And at the end of the day, it's all about the bottom line. And when my accountant, I just actually flew back to California just to meet with my accountant. And in the same day, I went to a funeral and a wedding. That was fun. And he's like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. He goes, yeah, you did spend money in marketing, but look at the results. Because you're brand new in a brand new market. So, I don't know if you want to open it up for questions, if people have, any questions on anything else I'm doing. But like I said, I'm not rich. I just made a commitment, my first 10 deals that I'm doing. And maybe you can't do this because you're just trying to make ends meet. Like I said, I'm throwing it all back into marketing, branding. If I do Zillow leads, what does that do? That just makes me go here, there. And you're not building a career. I want to help you guys build a career, not just build a funnel, right? Because a funnel is kind of a funny word. What is a funnel? A funnel is something that you want to grow, not just your bank account, but the goal is you don't have to keep marketing, right? If you do this, and of course, I think the database is the most important part. And that's why, when you and I talk, Frank, I'm like, okay, let's go. And just from what I've been doing with you, I think it's turning into close to, a dozen deals, right? Just from my old database. Cause I was afraid. I was kind of hiding from my sphere in California because I was like, am I coming back? Am I staying here in Florida? What does that even look like? Because I really thought I would be just continue working with Turner DeMarco Friedman. I thought that's where I was going to end up, but you just never know what God's plan is. And, Marguerite's always told me database, but what does that even mean? Put them into your CRM. You do your KV core. Can you tell me, Frank, tell them what you're doing with me. Do that.
Well, we grabbed all the contacts from your Gmail. We grabbed all the contacts from your cell phone. We grabbed all the contacts from various spreadsheets you've been working out of. We grabbed all the contacts in your CRM. We deduplicated them and scrubbed them to remove any of the bad emails through a service called Never Bounce. Loaded them up into an email marketing program, which is one of the best ones for deliverability out there, called MyEmma. Then we authenticated the account so it gets into the email inbox, where you want to set up what's called SPF and DKIM authentication. And then we took those emails and put them up into a Facebook retargeting list, and then set up a Zappy or CRM sync. So anytime you updated your CRM, we should double check this. It goes over to the email account and into the retargeting audience. And then you started publishing. And for your database, we committed to a topic plan of 2 educational videos a month.
Right.
One lead generation message, which I posted earlier. And I'll send some of the suggested topics, but you also do custom ones. That was the wrong link. I'm sorry. And you can write some custom scripts. So you're much more advanced in using some of the suggested stuff that we send out.
Right.
That's the gist.
And it's funny. And here's the thing with ChatGPT. I mean, and you guys, are really, really good with that. With ChatGPT, I mean, I'm going all in on that, and it knows you. So what I say is, and that's a whole nother training with the whole YouTube. Sometimes there's this listing agent I follow, and I'll take her whole script and I'll dump it in there, and I'll say, and this is what I did with the last one I did with your people. I said, now give it to me. I dumped it in ChatGPT. Give it to me from a buyer's perspective, right? Because you don't want to copy somebody's, but give it to me from a different spin-off. And you guys give me the great topics, but these are better than blogs, because here I am paying stupid money for my website. And I will tell you, in the beginning, I thought it was all about SEO targeting, and I cannot wait till, that whole thing is over in October, because then I'm going, even further in with you, Frank, right? Because that has done absolutely nothing for me, just blogs. Okay. It's great. It's a pretty website. Nobody cares, right? But you're putting me.
You're at the point now for the audience is you're very in tune with the questions buyers and sellers are asking.
Right.
And we're able to come up with a topic, put it in the script worksheet I sent you to have something really worth watching.
Right.
Like the number one thing you can do for YouTube SEO is average watch time. So if people are watching the videos, it's like the number one thing for SEO.
Right.
And people watch your stuff. I mean, one of the things we'll work on, Gail, I'm going to share this with everyone here because we talked about like the money that's going. If you have these vendors, this is the sponsorship agreement where you can zero cost some of your marketing by asking some of your vendors to participate. So you mentioned you had your mortgage person participate in some of your marketing.
Right.
All those other vendors, especially the ones not on the settlement statement, you can record some endorsement videos for them and edit them into your YouTube videos at this point. You ever watch a YouTube video and there's like an ad?
Yeah. I didn't think about that.
You should do that for your vendors, and there's the agreement to ask them for money.
I know, but those are annoying when I get those. I'm like, I listen to my favorite guy's that mafia guy, Michael Franchette. Brent, how do you say his name? Franchise. Oh my God, he's the next mafia boss, and he's my favorite podcaster. And every time,
I know who you're talking about.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah,
like here comes this add-on. So, but that's it's. I'm just happy to get them to subscribe and get them to call me. And honestly, like I've been averaging at least 4 calls a month right now. I mean, 4th of July, I've got people flying out. They're coming to my house for a barbecue and fireworks. And then I've got Kat taking him out, another agent on my team, like the very next day. So, and I got my family in town, right? So it's like the YouTube is working. And I watched a couple of the YouTubers all saying how it blew up. I just never thought it was going to happen for me. I never thought it was going to happen for me. And I made all the right, all the mistakes, because you have to make mistakes before you do the wins. But now I feel like I have it dialed down. It's just super, super easy. And, especially if you're going to try to do all the editing and all that kind of stuff. But, I just saw somebody I really love on this. I just looked at the chat for the first time. Hunter has got like the best freaking personality, and he's the smartest, youngest agent I know. I don't know, maybe he's older. I don't know, but I think he's about 25. And his personality. So if you just put your personality in there, it's like, don't try to be like, hey, I'm going to give you a market report. My name's Gail DeMarco. I'd like you to subscribe to the channel. Don't be like that. I usually tell people, hey, welcome to my channel. If you're back, you're a glutton for punishment. Or, hey, or just be who you are. Sometimes it's a bad day. Most of the time I have bad hair. I don't care, right? All I care is about putting it out, giving them information. Here's the latest model. Here's this, here's that. I don't even do market reports, right? I just kind of do, hey, here's my favorite restaurant. Here's, this neighborhood versus that neighborhood. And the only thing I'm putting money behind in my YouTube is the homes. If I'll put like $100 if I'm going to promote somebody's listing. And I'll tell you what.
What do you mean by that? YouTube ads?
So if I do a home tour, I'll put it on my YouTube and I'll throw $100 behind it to get more views. And that has actually really worked super well. Not only do I get I did sell one house that way. Just closed that last month. And it's so funny because people go, I don't know how you ended up. I have no idea how you ended up on my computer. Now it's through you, right? When people, I'll send you a screenshot. They text me 6:30 in the morning. This one guy your vendors could be your trainer, right? Like here's a trainer at the over 55 community. This guy was sent me 3 people. He goes, hey, so-and-so is going to be selling their house. And I mean, you need to have cheerleaders out there. And I reward my cheerleader. Here's another thing I didn't tell you. And the people at the new home sales, Frank, they know that I'm going to I used to be very consistent about it. And now I'm just starting again. Like on Fridays, I'll bring them sandwiches, right? I'll bring them Jersey Mike's or, some good sandwiches. And I also bring them Camus, when we're doing so, you can find that at Costco for $70. Let me tell you, that bottle of Camus goes a long way because when these new home sales people start referring you business of people that want to buy and they have to be contingent. I mean, we had it wrapped up with Toll Brothers and we still get a ton, in El Dorado Hills. I mean, every time somebody would have to sell a house to buy, they say, well, we'll take your offer, but you need to list Return to Marco, right? Because they know that we sell the houses. So, at the end of the day, it's just relationship based, right? You treat people good. You treat people like family. And I'll tell you what, these over 55 people, it's like, they're sensitive. I mean, if I tell you how many texts, why is he verifying my employee? I mean, you just have to have a heart for what you do. You can't do it for the money because it won't work, right? If you actually care about these people. I mean, I cared so much about this guy that was spanking me last night after you told me somebody's going to pay, right? He was going crazy on me. I called my assistant. I said, I think I'm going to sell his house for free because I just feel so bad that this contingent offer has fallen out and he's getting, the runaround. And she's like, snap out of it. It was like a scene from Moonstruck. She was like slapping me through the phone. And she's like, you know what? It's good that you care. Maybe you give them 0.5% or do something, but don't, if you don't care about this business, people can smell it real quick, right? So if you just care about the money, you're never going to grow a business. So, and if that's you, then find something else to do. But, at the end of the day, I think everybody that's on this call really cares. So, anything I can do, anything Frank can do, I'm an open book. I always have been. I love sharing these real marketing reports. I love sharing about Vyral, but they don't always work. Because I have failed in a couple of neighborhoods. You really need to look, what is the turnover rate? What are the demographics? And you have to be ready to hold on for a year. So like I said, you could pick a neighborhood and just pick 200 people. Just say, I want this neighborhood, give me 200 people. I'm going to spend $400, get a lender on board. And then if you double down with email marketing, because I don't even know, half the time, I didn't even know you sent this email out to all these people. I'm like, people like, hey, is this you or is it a scam? I'm like, what are you talking about? And I wouldn't have time to do that. I wouldn't have time to do what you do. and sell and be productive. There's no way. But what does the seller want to know more than anything? Not, but buyers don't care, but sellers want to know, how are you going to market my property, right? What's your marketing plan? And right now, what do most agents say? Put up a sign, put an MLS, tell all my agent friends are out, and like they always say, one of the scripts is, pray for a buyer. Well, I always pray for a buyer. I always pray for the right buyer. And I'll tell you what, right now, keeping a deal, I've never experienced this, Frank, so much, but keeping a deal on escrow, it is such a touch and go right now. If the buyer comes back with 24 things on a request repairs, you better do all of them, right? Because to hold on to them, I just had a seller tell me it's a house for $1.30 million. No, I'm not fixing anything. And it was a truss, it was a roof, it was, a bunch of stuff. And at first I'm like, well, okay, send it, the old Gail's like, okay, well, seller doesn't want to pay. I'm not going to pay. Send in a no. But at the end, we are playing Russian roulette right now. And you just never know, because the buyer's not looking at your house. They're looking at 3 other houses. And buyers are so squirrely. I've never experienced it like this. So when they say we want A, B, C, and D, unless it's ridiculous, if they ask me for something like, they want their car, they want their boat or something, of course we're going to say no. But I can't even express that. And I can't even tell you how important it is to really look and be proactive. Do those home inspections ahead of time. Do them ahead of time. Then your request for repairs goes from here to there. And that's how my deals are staying in contract. I mean, believe me, there's been some cliffhangers. And it's been like, it's going, it's not going, you name it. So it's not just getting the listing, it's selling the listing. And that's what people, there's a lot of programs out for how to get luxury listings or how to do this, or how to sell those listings, how to keep them in contract, how to market those listings. And honestly, as far as marketing goes, I throw a couple $1,000s in Google AdWords. I do, right? And that's just part of my marketing plan when I'm doing a listing. Now it depends. Now I will tell them if it is not listed properly, I don't tell them I'm going to spend less money, but I go, you know what? I can't go all in on marketing on this because I know nobody's going to look at this house. I said, can we make an agreement? If we don't have a showing a week for the next 3 weeks, we're going to do a $25,000 price reduction. So that's, I kind of bring down that roadmap. And a lot of people, this is nothing new, people, nothing new, right? But it's really having the real conversations, because at the end of the day, when people ask me, what do? I tell them I'm kind of like an oncologist. I go in there, I tell people your house isn't worth what it is, what you paid for it. And I try to find out, are they willing to go through this treatment program with me? Are they willing to go down this road? And it's no fun, because you used to go into a house and go, oh my God, your house is gorgeous. And I love this. And this is great. This is going to sell so quick. And now it's kind of like, you just make sure you leave the front door unlocked, because they may throw you out. And it's just telling, I've had people cry in front of me going, what? It's just happened. I just had people pay $1,470,000 for a house. He got transferred a year later, and I just got it in contract, and we just closed it for $1,350,000. Well, you paid, what can I tell you? I'm not telling you you're dead. I'm not telling you you're dying. I am not an oncologist. I'm just telling you, math is the path. Here's the deal. So
math is the path. Yeah. Lots of quotes here.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, Frank, and that's why marketing, working with you guys, this is why I agreed to do this with you, because I have a lot of people ask, saying, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? And, in the past, I don't want people to know Frank's my fuel and my jet, right? Because if Frank fuels everybody's jet, I may really have, because there is no competition. The competition is you, right? At the end of the day, if you don't show up, and I work probably 10 hours a day easily. I mean, that's just who I am. That's just what I do, because I have all this other stuff going on in my life, but I don't try to make excuses. I absolutely am committed to making this work. And we're going to look back, people. We are all going to look back in a couple of years going, shit, this was an amazing opportunity. Why didn't I grab onto this, right? Are we waiting for the interest rates to go down? Well, then you're just going to drown like everybody else, right? You'll be overwhelmed. But build your business now and get in front of people. And branding is always, I've always branded. You don't buy Zillow leads, because Zillow leads, especially now. Do you know how many buyers come to me directly? I mean, we're doing more double ends now than we never have, right? Because the buyers, and this one guy, I mean, I'm doing a walkthrough with him later today. They come in, I don't have an agent, I want to buy this house. Well, guess what? I get more love texts from him. You're the best, you're great, you're this. Well, guess what? He's going to be my cheerleader in that neighborhood. So you may not get them as, and I'm getting a very low commission on representing the buyer. I'm not going to, on listings, I'm 3%. And on buyers, I usually get 3% if it's a resale or a new construction. But I just looked at my average commission, and these are real numbers. It's 2.78.
Right.
This is my average commission.
Now, Gail, just for 1 minute, if anyone's wondering what I'm hearing, what Vyral does, can you sum up what Vyral does for you and how it's helped your business in about a minute for the audience?
Sure.
And as she's doing that, write your questions in the chat and we'll get to those.
It's so funny because when we did the onboarding with you, because I'm like, I don't need Frank right now, because one of my really phenomenal mentors, Josh Barker, who is at Reading, who closed $7 million in commission last year in a market that is, the average price is $270,000, $7 million in commission, people. He has 78% market share. Okay.
Is it a mastermind?
In Reading. So Josh and I are friends from my Mike Ferry days. He runs a really tight team. We've developed a great relationship, and we've always talked, and I actually reached out to him again because I had met Frank, you guys, like 15 years ago, and you've done so many great things for other people. So I'm like, I'm like, you know what? And Josh is like, call Frank. He's like the real, just call Frank. And sometimes, like, it's part of my ego, right? It's like, I don't need that. I could do this. I'm paying, I have my full-time assistant. You, like you said, you downloaded every single contact. You revived people that I didn't even know. People that even ex-husbands you got. How did you do that? I was like, oh, geez, delete. But at the end of the day, it's like, when you've been in business for more than 5 years, you've got a database, right? And I thought I only had 500 people. When you asked me how many people I had, I thought I had 500 people in my database, right? So you all of a sudden call me and go, oh boy, you got a lot more in here. And I'm like, I had no idea. Well, I'm only reaching out to, out of that 500 people, maybe 100. So you were able to, like, let me message them and have them reach out and reconnect me with people. Because the way I used to reconnect is if I saw them come up or something, I just call them up and go, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Frank, it's Gail DeMarco. How are you?
Doing good. How are you,
Hey,
Gail? It's good to hear from you. I haven't talked to you in a while.
I know. I'm just calling to tell you, I suck as an agent. I'm so sorry. You must think I'm like the worst person.
No, that's not the case.
Well, I owe you an apology. We were going to go out for a drink. We were going to go out for dinner. I loved your family. I just drove by your neighborhood. I'm like, I got to call Frank, and I am so sorry. I just had, and I never like to say I'm too busy for my clients, but, I just had a lot on my plate, and I just want to reconnect with you. When, how's your family? I see they're doing and thriving great. So that's what I do.
If I answer the phone, I got a call like that. I just like, yes, whatever you want. Yes.
Right. And here's the thing. Read the book. My favorite book is Never Split the Difference. And it's, Chris Voss. When I first heard him, I don't know, it was maybe 7-8 years ago. I flew down to San Diego. I sat in a room with 30 other CEOs, CFOs, no realtors. And we negotiated. He's the #1 kidnapping negotiator for FBI.
Oh, wow.
And he was phenomenal. And if you get the book, get the Audible book. And you will learn so much from that guy. So, I mean, that's what you do. It's called Never Split the Difference. It's Chris Voss. Yeah. So it's basically one of those things where it's an accusation label. You go up to the front desk and like, you think I just may, if you're at a hotel, hey guys, I don't want to ruin your day. You're just going to think this is like the worst thing you've heard today. But is there any possible way I could get an upgrade in my room? Because, you're trying to catch them off guard. And if people think, where's Gail been? Well, nobody cares that my mom's been sick, right? And that's the last thing I want to tell people. Well, my mom's sick. Nobody wants to hear your negative shit, people, right? Nobody wants to hear that you're going through a divorce. I was a wedding photographer, okay? Going through a divorce, it was like an alcoholic in a bar, right? So it was like every weekend, 3 times a weekend, I'd have to hear people tell, each other how much they loved each other. And I'd be sitting there going, ugh, nobody knew I was getting divorced. You don't bring your personal crap to your business. You can't. They're going to bring their personal crap. There's no room for both of yours. Everybody.
Good. I apologize. Let's just for the sake of time, let's do about 10 minutes of questions.
Sure. Wrap it up for everyone. You got it.
Jessica asks a great question. If money is tight, what type of prospecting would you start with? And with your farming, what is your target turnover rate? Okay. So I would tell you, I mean, when I work with Vyral Marketing, okay, so let's go with the first question. Open houses, do 4 a weekend, be a warrior, 11 to 1, 2 to 4. Okay, 11 to 1, 2 to 4. That's what I do. I do 2-hour window frames. So you have, even if only 2 people show up, the chances of them running into each other are greater. You want to have scarcity and urgency, right? So if they see somebody looking at the property, oh, so maybe I can't steamroll this listing and, buy it real low. So open houses is the contact game. You need to have, I used to do 120 to 150 calls a day to get 20 contacts. That was my ratio. So now if you're at an open house and you could just do one-on-one, that's even better. That's so much better than even I would rather do 4 open houses and make 4 good contacts a weekend than do 120 calls prospecting. And I'll tell you what, so on these home value leads, because on the back, and I didn't show you this is the most important thing in the mailer. How much is my home worth, right? So when they send that in, they're raising their hand saying, I'm probably going to be moving. I want to know what my value is worth. So I ask them 3 questions, right? And you could do a simple postcard, maybe to 50 homes. I used to market one street in El Dorado Hills, Da Vinci, and I only sent out like 30 postcards, and I would do it every 2 weeks. So they thought I was marketing the entire neighborhood. It cost me $80. Okay, $80. That's all that cost me a month. And basically, you don't have to have a big farm. You just have to have a tight farm. At the end of the day, the 3 questions I ask them, and you could put the home value, you could do Carfax if you wanted to. Or I know Vyral Marketing also does a postcard, but I ask them 3 questions. Hey, thank you, Frank. I really, Gail DeMarco, I don't even say, is this Frank? I just say, hey, Frank, it's Gail DeMarco. Oh, okay. Yeah, thanks so much. I really appreciate that. You inquired on the website regarding home value. Just curious before I do it, because, these online algorithms aren't really on point. So they don't take into consideration view, remodeling. So I have a couple of quick questions. Do you have a second? Then they'll say, well, what? Sometimes they go, well, I don't know what you're talking about. I go, well, you didn't click my link and ask for your home value? No. I said, well, do you have an ex-wife? And so that, I'll just kind of make it funny. And I'll say, well, somebody wants to know your value. Would you like to? Now I hear in the background, this just happened last week. She goes, oh, that was me. So the wife had actually clicked on it. And I go, just 3 quick questions. Have you done any major remodeling, kitchen, bathroom, or structurally? No, we painted, blah, blah, blah. You just want a conversation. Number 2, do you have solar? Is it owned or leased? Number 3, do you have a pool? Those are my 3 questions. Then I open it up. We usually talk seriously. It's like 15, 20-minute phone call because they just want to talk. People are so pent up. There's so many sellers that want. So even if you just do something like that, do a little bit of mailer, but do open houses, get your face out there, invest in really good signs, big signs, because you will get your money out of them. Because you get those little $20 ones, guess what? They blow over. They look like crap. People want to know that they follow a brand. Be the Lululemon, be the Nike of the neighborhood. So hopefully that answers. You're phenomenal. All the questions and comments you're getting in here and how many people have stuck around for this long. Just great. Let me ask you a question. How do you, when you're working so much by yourself, how do you maintain such a strong mindset consistently with so much negativity out there? How do you protect yourself from that?
I curse a lot and drink a lot.
There's another quote.
People think this is water. It is not, people. No,
that's fine.
No, honestly, I've just made a decision. I am not going to be ordinary. I'm always going to be extraordinary. I don't do anything mediocre. It's always going to be excellence. And I will not surround myself with any negative people besides my mother, right? And I have blocked her from Facebook. I actually blocked her from calling me today. So it's like,
oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. So
Interesting relationship.
no, only because, she,
Yeah.
she'll comment, oh, you went here without me. I'm like, so at the end of the day, you just cannot let negative people or people that agree with you when in a negative way. When I say that, yeah, you should leave your husband. Oh yeah, the market does suck. Oh yeah, maybe you should get a different career. Get them out of get them out, right? Because get them out of your life. Surround yourself with 5 badass people, right? And I only have room for 5 because I want to be in touch with those 5 people. And at the end of the day, it's one of those things where you can choose to win or you can choose to sit on the sidelines. And I like what money does for people. I like the fact that I can bless other people with money. So if somebody calls me and says, hey, I'm kind of in dire straits and I need a loan, I can do it. Right? It happened 3 times this month. So
That's
it's
cool.
like, but things like that's not about me, right? When you make it not about you, it has, and believe me, I struggle. Sometimes like yesterday, I told my husband, and I was really ashamed I said that. I said, today's going to suck. And he's like, why? I go, because I have to deliver bad news. This is one of those. And at 5 o'clock at night, he goes, did you deliver the bad news? I go, not yet. It was 5 o'clock at night. Because I was hoping that things would turn around. But when I listen to positive podcasts, everything I do, and I will tell you, I love 90 Day Fiance, right? Because that's my shit show. So when I don't want to think about anything, I'll just go to 90 Day Fiance and it just gets everything out of my mind. So it's just a lot of positive people and then bizarre people. That's it.
If it's okay and take some time, can you post the link to the vendor template? Is it on your computer?
Can we send an email to everybody? I sent it to you.
Yeah? Okay.
I sent it to you on the phone.
Well, there will be a replay going out to everyone here.
Yeah. So I'll have all the links on that. So can we do that?
We'll send it out to everyone that registered.
Yeah,
we have your email address. If you register for this, the email's on file, so you're good to go.
My gosh, I'm seeing some cool people. Kendra Vincent, I'm so excited to see you on this. And
all the comments of that, Gail.
That is my mother calling me. How did she call me? I blocked her. Oh my God, JC Wallace. I cannot believe this is crazy. So I'm seeing all these people that thank you so much. And Julie Reese. I feel like Nancy from Romper Room. I see Brenda McCain and I see Jessica. No, and honestly, a lot of you people I really, I know and I really care about. So I am ready to get back on a call and help, anybody that's struggling out there. Like I said, if you're with EXP and
you have a Calendly link, Gail?
It's on my YouTube station. Let me put my YouTube link in there.
I got it. That's fine. Well, look, Gail, great job. Thank you, everybody.
Are we done?
We're all done. You did a wonderful job. We'll end it there. That was an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, gosh. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys hanging in there this long. I know it's been a long one. Renee Romero, stop it. All these people. Hey, I'm just going to have a party, invite all these. So you're going to send me out everybody's email and we'll send out the links. Well, you'll do it all, right?
Yeah.
That's why I'm working with you. So I want to thank you, Frank, because honestly, I would probably not even have any more of my California business because when you're gone for a year, it's hard to reconnect those people. But I just sent out 2 really good listing referrals from people that reached out to me. And these aren't cheap houses. So I really, really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to doing more with you.
That was one of the big things, just so you know, obviously when we grabbed all of your contacts and you're in Florida, should we leave out everyone in California? I'm like, it's just an email and a Facebook ad. Leave them on there. I bet people will still call you for some home selling advice on the phone versus having maybe list a property you can refer it out. And it's exactly what happened.
Oh my gosh, this is so funny. Hunter McKay just wrote, this is going to go on my t-shirt. The market doesn't suck. You suck, Gail DeMarco. That's pretty funny.
There's all my details, Frank. Good first name.
No, honestly, guys, this is only month 6 of the year, right? So if your year hasn't been good, and believe me, I've been looking at people's numbers because I got Market View Broker, and I know people are struggling. You could start fresh today. Just make, and I'm not trying to blow smoke, but if your why is big enough, like print out your, when you're coaching with me, and I don't do private coaching right now anymore. At the end of the day, when you get on a call with me, I'll ask you how much money you got in the bank. And if you say, and I won't ask you for a number, I'll say, do you have enough to make it for 3 months? And if you don't, then you really need to implement, and I'm ready to get busy with you. So that's it.
That's it.
Thank you,
All right,
darling.
everybody.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much. We'll send
Thank
the
you,
replay out.
guys. Appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Everybody, take care.
Awesome.